Sitting down with a certified financial planner for the very first time, what should you expect? What should that first meeting look like? I'm going to help you get prepared. That and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. Meeting with a financial professional can be a little intimidating, right? You're going to expose your finances to that person, and so nobody's perfect, and you're probably very acutely aware of, oh, I wish I was making more progress, or these are the mistakes that I've made, and it's nerve-wracking. But here's the thing, every single video on the Wise Money Show channel, I'm going to encourage you to work with a CFP, a certified financial planner, who's doing comprehensive financial planning. There's a whole bunch of financial professionals and approaches that you could lump all together into financial advisor. But a certified financial planner who's doing comprehensive financial planning, that's a different experience. It's a different approach. I would argue it would lead to different and better results over the long term. So if you've got a meeting upcoming with a new CFP, maybe you've never even met with a CFP before, you've got your very first meeting, what should you expect? Why is that important? Because it's going to look and it's going to feel, the entire approach is going to be different than a lot of other investment salespeople or different types of financial advisors. So meeting with the CFP who's doing comprehensive financial planning, what should you expect? Well, number one, you should expect to do most of the talking, okay? You should expect to do most of the talking. Your certified financial planner who's doing comprehensive financial planning is interested in you, genuinely, authentically, because that's going to help them determine the approach and the recommendations they have for your financial plan. There's a study, and I'm not going to get into the details, but there's a study that was comparing and contrasting doctors and their diagnosis, their treatment plan. And how they were comparing and contrasting is how quickly after entering the room, the doctor started talking, okay? When they ask, how can I help you? Also, that was part of the research as well. If they said, how can I help you? Compared to, I hear you've got some knee pain, right? So how can I help you led to a more robust explanation of what that patient was dealing with, and led to better diagnoses versus I hear you're coming in because you've got knee problems. So that's one. And then two, how quickly when you're sharing your pain or your symptoms, how quickly does that doctor interrupt and start trying to diagnose or trying to explain versus where they wait patiently and listen, okay? In this research, the doctors who asked that open-ended question at the beginning, how can I help you today, and who took more time, were more patient, listened longer before they started explaining, they had better diagnoses. So your CFP, who's doing comprehensive financial planning, is going to listen a lot, maybe in an awkward amount, right? You're going to tell your story. They're going to ask you lots of financial questions. They're going to ask follow-up questions as you explain your background, your financial background, what you're hoping to accomplish financially, what you'd want in a relationship. But all in all, you're going to do more of the talking. Are they going to explain their firm and their approach and all that sort of stuff? Absolutely, okay? But I always look and say, well, that first meeting, 80% of the talking should be from that new prospective client. You should do 80% or a disproportionate amount of the talking. They should do more of the listening. I'd expect that. And if that didn't happen, you might be meeting with the wrong individual. And second, going along with that, the second thing that you should expect is that you're going to be asked some big picture, tough questions, okay? Your financial advisor is likely going to ask you questions like, what are your financial goals? And that's sort of an easy one, but a lot of times people aren't, they don't come in with that all figured out. And of course you shouldn't, you likely don't. But what about some other questions? What keeps you up at night financially? What are you worried about? What do you hope to get out of this relationship? What, how were you raised with money, growing up by your parents? Did you guys ever talk about finances? How often do you communicate with your spouse about money? Are those contentious meetings? Is there friction or friction discussion? Or is it nice and smooth and easy? Those sorts of things. And that's just a couple. But you should be expecting your financial advisor, your new CFP, is going to ask you some big picture, tough questions. And it's okay if you don't have all the answers. In fact, you won't. But having some dialogue where they're listening to your approach to money. Joshua Gregory, one of the co-hosts with me on our weekly talk show, calls this your money view. Your certified financial planner who's doing comprehensive financial planning needs to have an understanding of how you view the world of finances, okay? So they're gonna ask you some tough questions, big picture questions. You should expect that from your CFP. Third thing to expect, you probably won't see a bunch of pamphlets or some nice glossy printed materials. You likely will not see that. That's likely not going to be part of that first meeting or second or third. Typically financial professionals that have those nice printed materials and that they walk through and point out, those are typically product focus versus a CFP who's doing comprehensive financial planning. That's process focused. They want to hear about your specific financial situation, your financial goals, what you want to achieve financially. There's no great roadmap for that. There's nothing that you would put in print on nice glossy paper and have all these graphs and charts that reveals that, okay? Those high quality, kind of nice printed materials, that's more of a sales process. Where a certified financial planner who's doing comprehensive financial planning, that's not their approach. They're not product driven. They shouldn't be. They should be serving you and your financial interests, listening to what you want to achieve, where you want to go financially. If they have printed materials or anything like that, it's mostly going to be likely about their process that they take for financial planning as opposed to a product, and possibly a little bit about their firm and their team, hopefully. But not necessarily about, it's not going to be walking through a pamphlet or something like that. Fourth, your CFP doing comprehensive financial planning will likely have a team. There will likely be another individual, 2 advisors with you. You'll likely hear from other people on their team. Why? Because comprehensive financial planning takes a lot of people to do. So the big idea is that your certified financial planner is a generalist. They know a lot about various parts of your overall financial life, but they're going to collaborate with other financial professionals. Most likely, they're going to take a team approach. That's one of the things I've shared in previous videos as an indicator. Well, does your CFP actually do comprehensive financial planning? If they've got a team approach, it's more likely. If they don't have a team approach, if it's just them or just them and one other individual, likely it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, for them to pull off actual comprehensive financial planning. For that first meeting, you should expect to bring all of your financial documents. They're probably going to ask you for investment statements, bank statements, pay stubs, tax documents, insurance documents. However, I would also tell you to expect you may not even go through them, because that first conversation is really about you. It's good to have those documents there. If you get into, if you share, hey, I've got this going on, blah, blah, and the financial advisor says, well, let me take a look. That doesn't quite add up. That doesn't quite sound. They might want to look at those statements or your tax return to confirm some details, but the conversation's more so going to be about you as opposed to strategy. The strategy, which will come off of those details, happens later. The first conversation is about where you are, where you want to go, and your overall financial approach. After that, then it's looking at the details of your financial life and marrying those two together. The actual details, the nerdy stuff, along with where you are, where you want to be, what you're worried about, all that sort of stuff. Together, that's where strategy comes. But in that very first meeting, most likely they're going to ask you to bring a bunch of documents. You may not go through them. Ideally for me, if we've got enough time in that very first discussion, 80% of the conversation is going to be about you. We'll share a little bit about our firm and our approach. And then if there's any remaining time, we'll flip through some of the documents just to make sure you ask any questions, or if our team has any questions, we'll go through that. And lastly, what you should expect in that very first conversation with a new CFP is that they're going to be upfront in explaining their fees and their cost structure. They're going to do that proactively. It's no secret. It's no secret. You're not meeting in a back alley. You're not meeting by candlelight. right? You're meeting with a financial professional who has an office where there's rent, of course, and utility bills that need to be paid. And as a professional, you'd expect that they're making a living for doing this, that they're exchanging value for value. And so, unfortunately, so often in the financial world, those costs and fees are a secret. And they're not discussed, and you would need to ask, well, how do you get paid, or what am I paying for this, and where are those fees, all of that. Your certified financial planner who is doing comprehensive financial planning is going to explain that up front. They're confident in the value that they deliver, and they know where their cost structure aligns with that value. And so they're going to be upfront about that so that you can help figure out, well, is this the right relationship or not? So it should be clear. It can be confusing because certified financial planners, sometimes they charge a flat hourly rate, sometimes an annual fee, sometimes part of the assets, and there's a few different ways to do it. However, what should be consistent is how that's explained and that it makes sense and it's clear up front and it's not a mystery. Oftentimes as we're meeting with new folks, after we get through things and we're talking about our services in our firm, we'll often ask, do you have any questions? But we'll tell them we'll be upfront and say, okay, well, a lot of times people are asking, what's this cost and how do we get paid? And here's how that works. And we explain that. So it's very clear. Your certified financial planner who's doing comprehensive financial planning, again, that's not product driven. Therefore, it shouldn't be commission driven. Therefore, they're going to be upfront with their cost structure and what the cost is to work with them, what their services are. So, meeting with a certified financial planner who does comprehensive financial planning, it's a different approach. They're going to sound like all other financial advisors, maybe initially, or if you are referred to them, but it's a different approach that gets a different result. I would argue a uniquely better approach that provides uniquely better results as well. So, that hopefully helps you prepare for and know what to expect from your first meeting with this CFP. If your experience wasn't that way, or your CFP is more focused on products, or they're not doing comprehensive financial planning, they're not working with a team or collaborating with other financial professionals, it might be time to sit down with a new CFP where what I just shared of what you should expect is more so the reality of what you're going through. Work with your CFP. If you don't have a CFP on your team, contact one on my team. Find us online. Korhorn.com, that's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com, you can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.